Hi, hello. This silly old sod walking on the beach in the freezing cold in the silly hat and the bright yellow coat is Ian. And what I want to do now is just put into practice everything that we've done so far and just show you the practical assessment you make on the day. So before I came down here to White Abbey, I looked at the tidal data just using Navionics. It's an app you can subscribe to if you're a regular user. There are plenty of others. You can just Google tide tables White Abbey if you want to. And I looked at the Met Office website weather forecast to have a look at what was going on. Before all that, we need to know about your surroundings. Okay, now we're very lucky here. We all know White Abbey. Okay, do you know that it's 2.8 miles 2.8 miles directly across though? So if something goes wrong, you know, you're never going to be more than 1.5 miles from land, which is great in a powerboat, but a bit more scary on a paddleboard, I would suggest. So even in confined waters like this, where you don't think you're going to go very far, if things go wrong, it can be a little bit scary. So that's why you've got to do this assessment. Okay. Now, looking out at the water, on the surface of it, you'd think, what a perfect day. There's no waves, very little movement, and that's fantastic. But let's just look at the detail, right? So, the tide, what's it doing? We are about 2.5 hours from high tide, okay? So now the tide itself. The tide isn't moving too high at the moment. Here in White Abbey, there's a range of about 1.5 to 3.5, 3¾ meters range, depending on whether you're in spring or neap tides. Right now, we're just after neap, so the range of water is less. And that's good news, because if it's a high range, it means more water's got to move in the same amount of time, and the currents and streams and things are stronger. So that's in our favour, the tide. The tide is coming in, so it's not going to sweep you out to sea. It's not going to take you on a day trip to Scotland. It's going to take you up to Belfast Harbour, okay, if things go wrong. And because we're approaching that slack water period, you know, a period of an hour either side of high water, it means the water's not moving much anyway. We've got neaps, which are weaker. We're close to high tide, so it's in our favour. It's a good time to start your session. If you were the other side of high water and it was about to move out fast, that wouldn't be so clever. So this is a good time to go. So if the tide isn't going to take you out to sea, what about the wind? Because if the wind is the dominant force and you're standing up like a bloody great sail on a paddleboard, or you're in a sailing boat, you need to know if the wind's going to have a greater effect. And I would suggest that today it is. Now it's a northwesterly wind, okay, which is an offshore wind. It's coming from up there. Now it's blowing you straight across. Now, good or bad? Well, offshore winds, I've always said offshore winds are not good. They're worse if you've got an offshore wind and the tide's going out for obvious reasons. Here we've got a tide coming in, but we've got a stronger breeze, which is going to have an effect on you. But it's offshore, which is, I would normally say, is dangerous. Well, it is. It is. Ideally, onshore is better, because you're always going to get blown in. But here you do have a safety net. I know it's 2.8 miles away, but if you go out here because it's nice and benign and the tide's not doing anything and the wind picks up, then you're going in that direction or into the city. You're not going out to sea. So it's not the ideal. It's not an onshore breeze, you know, but it's not an offshore with tide going out to sea either. So you just need to make an assessment of that. What does that mean? Well, what else can we look at? Cat's paws. You see the shadowy areas on the sea there? That's the cat's paws. That's the gusts of wind. So they're going to have an effect. So do you want to put a novice on a board out there where there's gusts that might push them in the wrong direction? Up to you. If you've got a safety boat, might not be a problem. If you've got more advanced people going out with them in kayaks beside, might not be a problem. It's generally benign here. You've just got to have your wits about you about what may change. Plenty of other things to help you with the wind. In the summer months, the trees, but of course there's hardly any leaves on them now, so that doesn't help you. Flags, if you're on a more touristy area, you can see what the flags are doing. Here we've got an effing great chimney up there with loads of smoke coming out of it, blowing this way and across the loch, so we can see that the wind is doing what we think it's going to do. Because remember, forecasts are just forecasts. Things change, especially around here. All right, we've got the clouds. The clouds are suggesting slow breeze, not any sign of imminent rain. So again, everything's saying it's safe to go out. The one thing that would stop me going out right now is the temperature. It's fucking cold. My hands feel like they're going to fall off already, and I haven't been in the water. I've only been walking on this beach like a silly old fart for 15-20 minutes practicing this script. So I would be very wary of the temperature. Remember, in there it's 9 degrees at best, and out here my thermostat in the car says 3 degrees. The app says it feels like 1. It is cold. So unless you've got the right kit, and you've got the right kit waiting for you when you come out of the water as well, I would be very hesitant about going in there at this time of year. So that's all for now, I think. I'm going to have a cup of tea. Bye.